There is a beauty and clarity that comes from simplicity that we sometimes do not appreciate in our thirst for intricate solutions. Dieter Uchtdorf. My friends, we don't need complicated, intricate solutions. In fact, they're the ones, particularly in the market, that work the least. We need simple charts, we need good rules, and we need to practice so that we can see them working for us. Now, I am in the process of updating the chart as you see it with the fact that we have had a weekly vertical crossover. Yes, that actually did occur at the end of the week. And we will show this on here. It wasn't a super strong one, but it did occur. And the S&P 500 slowly but surely did finally cross over. We've got a red open box candle, so there's a slowdown in the up movement for the week, but enough push in the wave to switch over. The derivative oscillator switched over earlier in the week, but right at the very end, we see the price percent oscillator slowly moving over, going up. Now, the 2-day, very, very weak. If you didn't jump in at this point, I totally understand that. No requirement to ever do that, but you do need to know where things stand. Week over, a crossover, a weak crossover. 2-day has been heading down for a few days, down again for the day. 0.27% price percent oscillator losing energy. Derivative oscillator also losing energy. Both of them are still positive. Price percent oscillator is a little less than flat, just sort of moving along and away from that 200 exponential moving average on that lower chart. We look at the half day. What do we see there? We see where things were up a little in the morning and then bleeding off in the afternoon. Price percent oscillator negative, derivative oscillator negative. So not a big reason to get super excited about jumping into that crossover, but nonetheless, that is what we see happening. Now let's move on to the S&P, no, from the S&P 500 to the NASDAQ 100 is represented by QQQ. Did not have a crossover there. Price percent oscillator is flat. Derivative oscillator is positive. Red inverted hammer, a spinning top, you could call it. Open box, long wick on the top, little wick on the bottom. Again, down 1.40% for the day. So a down day for the NASDAQ 100. We look at the 2-day chart. What do we see there? Well, going into, again, we had the latest candle finish forming back on Thursday. So this is just the first day of this one. Still have Monday to go through, but a red down candle not reaching a lower low, but things are heading down. Still, the derivative oscillator is positive, but losing momentum. Price percent oscillator positive, but heading down. So again, we have that intermediate chart losing a lot of steam and not enough to have that crossover. We look at the half day, and of course it is continuing to trundle down. We can redraw our candles here. But again, as we look, we can of course see that half-day chart continuing to move down. Derivative oscillator also quite negative. So again, stocks are trying to find their way. The tech stocks just don't want to rally and push through, so we will abide by that. Last thing you're going to do is try to make something happen that the market's not doing. We follow price movement. There's not a crossover on the NASDAQ 100, a very weak one on the S&P. What's up with 20-year bonds? Down again for the day, 1.08%. Again, bonds continuing to push down. Price percent oscillator kinking over, going down. Derivative oscillator about flat on that weekly chart. 2-day, first day of the latest 2-day candle, just a bounding down. We had that bounce off. We talked about that earlier in the week on last Friday. And of course, what did we see happen as things moved throughout the course of the week? Just got redder and redder and redder. Now, what's up with the half-day chart? Again, down in the morning, further down in the afternoon, bonds just continuing to sink. following in the direction of what? The weekly vertical crossover. Bonds crossed over all the way back in early January. And but for a few weeks, really 1-2 week period where things bounded up in late February, early March, just continuing to move down. If you've been shorting bonds, you've been doing good. What about gold? Up for the day 0.63%. Now, again, gold is still positive on the price percent oscillator on the weekly chart. Derivative oscillator positive, but continuing to lose momentum. Gold has been sliding sideways and down for the last several weeks, 4 weeks now. We see it ended up with a doji, meaning indecision. It's a green doji, indecision tending up, but a lot of indecision there. What do we see on the 2-day? Well, first day of the latest 2-day candle, nice green up candle. Price percent oscillators flat, derivative and negative. Derivative oscillators negative, losing downward momentum. Half day, we saw that half day crossover in gold going up back on Thursday morning, the 7th, earlier this week. And again, just moving right up for the last 2 days. Rather strong, ready for gold to take off, ready to see a 2-day recross going up. Don't know if that's going to happen, but I'd like for it to. I love buying gold. Now, let's move lastly to Bitcoin. Bitcoin, depending on where you look, Bitcoin, Grayscale Bitcoin down 1.84%. We look at the Bitcoin futures, down about 1.44, 1.49, and the one I like to trade, XBTF, down 1.32. And let's look at what's going on with Bitcoin itself, where we put all our trend lines and such. We had a weekly vertical crossover last week, a big, nice green up candle pushing through. Derivative oscillator still moving up. Price percent oscillator, however, is flattening. We have a red open box candle. That's a slowdown in the down movement, nowhere near the high of last week. Things weakened quite a bit. We can really see that on the 2-day chart as the down moves accelerated. First day of this latest 2-day candle. Price percent oscillator positive heading down. Derivative oscillator positive but losing momentum. We go to the half-day chart. Let's go back to that Bitcoin future where you can see down in the morning, a little further down in the afternoon, Bitcoin's been heading down for many days on that half-day chart. Again, downward pressure in the lowest chart and, of course, in our intermediate chart and the long chart, that is our weekly chart, still struggling. So we'll wait, watch, and see. We do have, the switch in the tide and the investor sentiment. If any of you are reading about all of the positions, it might have been holding Bitcoin back through expiration Friday. We'll see how things go this next week. You might be ready to pay close attention to what's up with Bitcoin as we jump into the next week. That's where we are, folks. So, again, you got questions, problems, concerns, we'd love to hear from you. CW@chartingwealth.com. Patreon members, thank you so much for all your support. Hope that you were able to put 1 or 2 practice trades on the books using those weekly vertical crossovers we shared with you on Thursday night, as we do every week. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.